Hello again. Today I'm going to talk about mindfulness, from a particular angle. So I was thinking about how we spend a lot of our lives waiting. You could call it anticipating. So this waiting that we do occupies quite a lot of our life. Um, Looking forward to, anticipating, wanting things to happen. Um, and making plans around the future when actually in reality we don't even know if there will be a future. We can't be sure. But never mind, even if we can assume that there is going to be a future and that, we can plan months ahead, what happens when we do anticipate in this way, when we are waiting for things? It stops us from really living right now in the present moment. I mean, in a way, there is no present moment because the present moment that I was talking about has gone. It's completely gone. It was over even before I'd finished saying it. So it's very hard, I think, for us to really see that life is rushing by like a torrent down a steep mountain, as it says in one of the verses. My life will come quickly and abruptly to an end like a lightning flash in the sky. Well, it sure doesn't feel like it, does it? I can anticipate all sorts of things even about today, what I'm going to talk about in the lunchtime class, what I'm going to eat this evening. So what's wrong? What's wrong with that? What's wrong with anticipating and looking forward to things? And obviously, we have to plan. We're alive in the world and we have responsibilities and so on. We have to plan. But what can happen is that we spend our life really not being aware now of the joy, the reality, the fleetingness that's going on right here and right now. And it means that in a way we're not really alive. We can only be alive right now. I remember once breaking down in my car and calling the RAC, and they were going to come out. And I realised after I'd made that call that I had a choice. And I had a choice about how I approached that time. I could either decide that I was waiting for the RAC to arrive, or I wasn't waiting at all. The RAC would come at some point, and I was enjoying the uniqueness of the situation. So my car was parked in a lay-by, and it was a reasonably nice day. There was all sorts of things to look at, and I could be present in my body, or I could not be present at all and have all sorts of thoughts about when are the RAC going to arrive, will they be able to fix it, will I get home in time, all sorts of things, I could easily have chosen to get a bit anxious perhaps, get a bit worried about sorts of aspects of the situation, or I could just simply be there. And I think there are all sorts of occasions when we can do this. That's perhaps a more extreme case, but we can do it all the time. And I've noticed sometimes that me and Bodhivajra recognise when we're, I was going to say impatient. It is a slight impatience. It's when one or other of us are waiting, have gone into a waiting mode. So Yes, if we go out for a walk recently, so I'm on the scooter, and Bodhivajra says, I'll just get my boots on. So I think, I've just got time to whip up around the corner and have a look at, the surrounding area. I'll speed round there, and then by the time he's got his boots on, I'll be back. And I think a week or so ago, I wasn't back in time because I bumped into Peggy, our neighbour, and not literally, I say, we were well apart, but we had a few words, and then I got back, and Bodhivajra was waiting for me. So we'd both fallen into that trap of waiting, this attitude of waiting, and if we can drop that more and more, it's a really wonderful thing, because it means that no situation is worth ignoring. No situation do you need to ignore, because you can really be in that situation. So what does that mean? I need to say a little bit more about that. It's about knowing how to be present without leaning forward. It's sometimes you see figures of bodhisattvas. There's a beautiful one of Avalokiteshvara, actually, where he's in the posture of royal ease. He's in the posture of royal ease. Actually, I think in Buddhism there are two postures of royal ease. I think this is right anyway, that one is where usually a Tara is stepping down towards the world with her right leg. So she's got her right leg hanging down and her open palm perhaps on her knee. So that's one royal ease, but I'm thinking of another one where Avalokiteshvara has actually got his knee up and his arm is resting on that knee. And that posture of royal ease is showing us something about relaxation, about knowing how to be completely relaxed and untroubled, and it's a real letting go. And a lot of the time we're quite keyed up, we're not letting go. So, we're in a particular situation at the moment. I mean, probably a lot of people are waiting now for Boris Johnson to say something that means we don't have to wait anymore and we can be out there. We can be out in the world, shopping again, going to work, doing all the things that we want to do. And I would suggest that those states of mind are not very healthy. They're not particularly helpful for us, because this is where we are right now, and we're likely to be for some more weeks, for quite a few of us. So let's not wait. Let's be right here, right now. Whatever the view out of your window, whatever the day brings, can you be receptive to it rather than leaning forward? I mean, there have been so many suggestions recently about all the things that we can do in this time, and there's nothing wrong with that. Great, do those things if that's what you would like to do, but do them spontaneously. You don't need to think, how can I fill my time? How can I get through this moment? If we know how to be in a state of mindfulness. So try some mindful walking, perhaps, putting one foot slowly in front of the other, and notice what it feels like, what your body feels like when it's walking compared to how it feels when you're sitting down. Notice the sensations in the soles of your feet as you pick up one foot, as you place it down. Feel the tension in the muscles of your legs as you lift them up and put them down. So there's a whole world in mindfulness. There's a whole world in mindfulness of walking. But we have to be prepared to find that world. It's not necessarily immediately obvious if we're not used to being mindful. But it's a fascinating world. It's a much more direct world. So direct experience is much more satisfying, much more rich than we realise, rather than leaning forward, rather than waiting. So I'll leave it there for today. See you tomorrow.